Hi there, good afternoon, how's it going? So I'm back in Mendocino County, Northern California after my wilderness backpacking trip in the Trinity Alps, north of here a few hours. Up towards the Oregon border. That was about a week ago. I came back down here to hang here, visit family, and work on editing those videos from the camping series. So this is Lake Mendocino here, a reservoir, and this is an abandoned and now very colorful old winery that used to be in operation a century or so ago. So I'm going to walk along the lake here and talk about the heat. Today is Saturday, July 13th. It is currently 98 degrees Fahrenheit. That is about 36 degrees Celsius, but that is cooling down from the highs just a couple of days ago when it got up to 112 Fahrenheit. That is around 45 degrees Celsius. So a very relevant topic here at the beginning of summer, and within the context of the very sad news of the many people who have disappeared, and many of whom were found dead on the Greek islands. About 8 or 9 people in the course of a month went missing. A number of them were found. None were found alive, and to the best of my knowledge, some are still missing. So I'm not on the Greek islands now, but I have been to a few of them, 55 to be exact, including many where the people went missing, and some of the ones where they disappeared. Then those are islands that I have high on my list to visit, including Sikanos, which is kind of near Santorini, a less popular island. And there, 2 French women, older, in their 70s, left their guest houses separately to try to meet one another, and both of them disappeared, and I believe that they haven't been found yet, and it's going on like a month now. And so very, very unlikely, unfortunately, that they could be found alive. One of them apparently sent a text message to her guest house after going on that walk, basically asking for help and saying that she was lost. And so not only have I been to the Greek islands, but I have also had experiences getting lost. Now, one was not on the Greek islands. My adventure in the Marble Mountains back in 2016, when I was backpacking solo in the wilderness there, and a trail disappeared on me, and I then had to go off trail and find my way using my intuition to the best of my ability, as well as the map, and get to another trail. And as you can see, I survived, luckily. But also on Greek islands, I've had a few instances of getting a little turned around, not seriously lost, but was on a trail and then visited something, turned around, tried to get back on the trail, couldn't find it, ended up off trail for a little while, scrambling around, and then finally finding it, or some other trail or road or whatever. And so I can certainly imagine and understand how this can happen. One of the men who disappeared, Michael Mosley, a famous medical doctor on British television, he said goodbye to his wife, that he was going on a walk over the island, and I think didn't bring his cell phone, and then just disappeared, and they found him just a couple of days later, I think by a beach, probably having died of heat stroke. So all of these different instances have different circumstances. There could be various factors involved. A couple of the deaths were due to drowning, including one just recently, a new one, a South African young man who was on a boat and I guess jumped in to take a swim and then disappeared, didn't come back, and they found him fairly quickly, having drowned apparently. But there could be various other factors. Who knows if some of them had, heart conditions. Certainly the age of some was a factor, but one of the main factors for many of these disappearances and deaths was the heat. Getting heat stroke, probably dehydrated, etc. And so the point of this video then is to talk a little bit about how to be prepared when you go on a day hike or backpacking in the wilderness or whatever for such circumstances. Now, one of your best friends is the water. And so I'm not wearing this coincidentally. This is part of the sort of demonstration of one thing or a few things that you can do to be prepared for going hiking on a hot day. Now, of course, you may very well want to assess whether it's a good idea to go out at all or just stay in your room in the AC or in a restaurant drinking a beer or lemonade or whatever, stay in the shade, wait until it cools down in the evening, or else get an early start in the morning, etc. But you can, of course, hike safely in the heat. I just walked past a guy and his dog. He was not smoking, but he obviously had smoked some green stuff very, very recently. Very strong smell there, but it's legal here in California. Anyway, so there are various things that you can do to be prepared for the heat stroke, dehydration, etc. And so I'm going to illustrate some of the things that you can do right here. So I have my day pack here, and inside is a bottle of water. There's also a root beer. I have a jacket that is always in there, and that is just a good one to have for it gets cold, it starts to rain, you get hit by a sandstorm in the desert of Egypt, whatever. Jacket always in there, even if it is a hot sunny day. You never know, maybe you get stuck somewhere overnight, it cools down, you have something to lay across you. It is just one, piece of the survival puzzle that is a good one just to have in there always. I also have a little bag with a few different things in it. So in that little bag is a whistle. I have never had to use it, but you never know. That is something that really potentially could have saved some of these people when the search parties went out. If they were lying somewhere hurt, then much easier than trying to yell. You can only do that for so long before you go hoarse and wear yourself out. Blowing on a whistle is much easier. And then I have a little multi-tool knife and some extra toilet paper and a couple of other things. But really, when it comes to being prepared for the heat, then it is what you're seeing here. So sandals. People, oftentimes ask me, why am I hiking, in the mountains, whatever, in sandals? If it is weather like this, then I most likely want to be wearing sandals. Much cooler. You can get them wet in a creek, in a lake, in the sea, the ocean, wherever. Cool down your feet and then walk with the wet sandals. And then shorts, obviously it's a hot day, that's a no-brainer. And then the tank top here, although very likely that I wouldn't have the tank top on if it was really hot. And then this is an important one. So some of you who saw my wilderness backpacking adventure in the Trinity Alps just last week may remember that a deer ate my sarong. I had one of these basically to use as a towel, and I left it outside my tent after using it to dry off from having jumped in the lake there at my campsite. And then I left it on a rock with another smaller rock on top of it to keep it from going anywhere. but that didn't work. I woke up in the morning and it was shredded to pieces, just destroyed by deer that had been walking around my camp. And then on my final day out there, when I was hiking out, then it was really hot and I wanted something to cover up my arms. I ended up putting on a thermal long underwear top, long sleeved, which I got wet in the lake. And so that is a very critical thing, is head out. I would take the tank top off myself, and then you take this sarong, put it over your shoulders, and then here's a little something you can do to protect your neck. So the hat, of course, is just absolutely critical to get the sun off your face, off your nose, and you get it wet, and it helps cool you down. And then you do this, and you can see, especially if you don't have the long hair that I have right now, your neck is exposed. There you go, neck covered, shoulders covered, arms pretty much covered, and it's wet and cooling you down for at least some period of time until it gets dried out. Now, in the case with some of these instances, especially Michael Mosley, then I guess he tried to walk over an island, the island of Semu, which I have been to, beautiful island, and probably there were no water sources there, but did he have water with him? Because that would be an absolutely just, the most basic of necessities if you're going on a hike anywhere at any time of day and any temperatures. Of course you want water, but in extreme heat, then you want plenty of fluids, water. And then, as I said, I got a root beer in here. Bring some juice, have more than you need to make sure you don't get dehydrated. And also, if you don't have access to water where you are, then if you got your water bottle, then it might be worth using that to get your hat wet once it dries out, and the sarong as well. Just use a little bit, and that can really help to cool you down. So it's all about, considering the possibilities and being prepared to the best of your ability. You can't be prepared for everything, but certainly many of these sad incidents could have been avoided by more preparedness. And of course, tell somebody where you're going. If in doubt, hike with somebody else. I do a lot of solo hiking. I'm pretty experienced. That doesn't mean you're bulletproof and it can't happen to me or you. But if you're in an unfamiliar place, an island that you don't know very well, do you have a map? Do you have your phone? Do you have cell phone reception? And even if you don't have cell phone reception, then very likely your phone can show you where you are on the map. And be aware of your surroundings, be aware of where you have been, and as soon as it gets to any point at which you're like, oh man, I'm getting, heat stroke, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going, turn around and just go back where you came from. I mean, to go, walking off trail on a Greek island in the heat, I don't know, what the circumstances of Michael Mosley and some of these other guys were, how prepared they really were. Maybe they had all the necessities and just circumstances worked against them, and it was bad luck and, whatever. But much of these very, very likely could have been prevented by having the, basic preparedness. So a very sad reality. Many people have, died in the U.S. over the past month as well due to the heat, especially the elderly. Your, power goes out, you don't have AC, or you go on some walk and you think you're just going a short ways, and then you get a little lost or whatever, you know, it can really happen unexpectedly. And then as you get heat stroke, you get confused, then your decision making gets poorer, and you can end up, you know, hiking a long way in the wrong direction, getting more lost, etc. So it can really happen to anybody, but there are definitely many things you can do to prevent this sort of a disaster, so that you can keep on hiking the Greek islands, jumping in the crystal clear waters, or wherever you go on your adventures. So I'll end this video at a nice little spot here. A cool mural on this, I guess, water tank, showing some of the wildlife. So that dog looks exactly like the dog that the pot smoking guy had that I walked past. And then woodpeckers, I guess, squirrels, looks like a hawk, I guess, raccoons, bears. Don't know of any bears right around here. Certainly they are in wilderness areas in California. And then mountain lions, and let's get a better shot on the other side. Mountain lions are right around here. There are signs warning, there have been recent sightings, and of course deer. I saw so many deer on my backpacking trip, also while I was camping at Trinity Lake, some rabbits, quail. So I'd seen the bird while I was backpacking along with my big backpack on, and this bird was doing the you know, broken wing thing, obviously trying to distract me from its nest. And I said, well, I don't think it's a quail, what was that? And people said, well, either a grouse or a pheasant, something like that. But there's quail. They have the distinctive little thing on their heads, and then little frog there, and a butterfly, possums, an owl, a turkey, or is that supposed to be a turkey vulture? I think it's a turkey. A fox, and well, didn't really get a better shot of the mountain lion. You can maybe see its face a little better there. So a great illustration of the local wildlife. All right, that is it. I'm now going to play a game of disc golf. There is a disc golf course right up here. This is my favorite disc golf course I've ever played, and I've played a good, you know, dozen or so around the US, mostly in California. But it is to a great extent shaded with trees. It's going to be hot, but you know, I'll tolerate it, and then get back to my mom and stepdad's house. Stay cool for the rest of the afternoon, and then I have no idea what is happening in my life in the coming week, trying to figure it out. I will definitely figure it out. So more coming from somewhere. See ya.